today I wanted to share with you this little drawing of my garden. It's just a little element of it, just a one wall, and I thought it would be good exercise to do different textures, because I definitely struggle with foliage. So I wanted to do that, and I thought I'm going to start with kind of big shapes. So we're going to shape this hydrangea. Then we have those lovely trees, very delicate. And I am using today Faber Castel Graphite Aquarelle, which is a watercolor pencil. This set, it has 5 pencils at different softness. So it has HB, 4B, 8B, 6B, and this is 2B. So sweet middle. 8B is super soft. It just works like a butter, very dark. Trying to concentrate and talk is not easy. I have so many amazing drawings to use up, and I thought I'm going to tackle something nice and easy today. It's Sunday. It's just something I wanted to do for a long time, and I did notice that I do struggle with foliage. I just want to improve with that one. So what's better way to do it? And I think with those different plants, it's important to look kind of 3D at them rather than flat. So that's what I'm going to try to do. And it's tricky because lots of them are in foreshortening. So their perspective is very much skewed and tricky. I'm drinking peppermint and licorice tea from Asda. If you haven't tried it before, I highly recommend it. It's delicious. I always leave my tea bag in to make it nice and strong. It doesn't get very strong because it's kind of like it's not a proper tea, it's more like a herbal sort of tea. It's very sweet, very nice. If you have a sweet tooth, definitely recommend that. So just getting that organic shapes and making into different directions, I think that's the key. It's so hard because you can just go for ages and repeat the same thing. And then on the other hand, I don't have to be exact and literal. I can just give it a hint of here and there. But then if I make it too vague, it will look kind of messy and not so attractive. There's like a little trellis here going on. So with those pencils, they're really good because if I use water on that, it will disappear. So it's kind of good guide, but it's easy to get rid of it as well. It's not as stark as some of the graphite pencil you can use. And now here, I'm just going to block some of the flowers on here. I'm trying to observe their shapes. They kind of outlet and flatter on this bit. And just to add a little comment about this bowl. So what happened many years ago now, we live in this house since 2006, so it has a lot of history. That little bowl is for birds to go inside. And actually it had birds. Once only, but how spectacular. There were little tiny birdies flying one by one. It was kind of turned that way around, so they were flying here like shoo, shoo, shoo. It didn't have that many plants back then, so it was just kind of grass. And they were so brave, their little souls just I'm so in awe when I see those tiny little birds just going for it. It's amazing to see. Never again we had birds there. I don't know if it's just my dog scaring them, or they're not happy, not feeling safe. But it was so lovely still. This is my little kind of patio area. So my little swing. I love sitting here, especially when it kind of gets darker at the evening and you're observing things. Okay, let's sort this fence out. So put kind of top of it here, and it's going to be the main pole. Remember, you don't have to draw exactly the same. If it's your work and you haven't got specifics kind of from client that all has to be exactly the same, you can just do whatever you like. Okay, that roughly gives me an idea. I will also draw a little kind of hint of bricks. So everywhere I go, guys, I try to get really lovely reference images. Today we went to Portchester Castle, and again I have few really lovely references there. So what can we do now? I thought we could use one of those pens. That is Tombow, and I think they are not that different. So they are both waterproof. One is BH, the other one is BS. So H is hard, S is soft. It's just a little difference how, let me show you at the very end. So this one is S, soft, and I'm squishing that, and it kind of, that brush gives in, and this is more rigid, more delicate. So I think I prefer for this job the softer one, just because it gives me more variety. I can go crazy with those leaves here. Okay, let's get started. It doesn't really matter where I'm going to start, and you can go really down in detail, or you can just be vague and very loose, which I prefer. But again, I want to give a little good intentional line work, so it does look actually like what I wanted to depict, rather than just everything loose and mess and no sense. It's not easy, not easy. Who are those little flowers? How are they constructed? Got lots of detail, and the kind of general shape is round and kind of flat on the bottom here. Smaller, bigger, but they're famous for their kind of pom-pom like look. I call them pom-poms. And yeah, draw quite a few because that little shape repeats itself all over. And just closer to me, I'm using more of a side of the brush to create illusion of thicker kind of lines. I can draw a few different leaves. I can also establish that, sorry, with color. It doesn't only has to be the line work. I can later on use pencil, just a color pencil to do that. I don't have to do everything with line work. Just a few, and then I'm gonna add more, like I said, with color pencils. I think that's gonna be a really nice effect. I don't know why plants always cause me so much problems. I enjoy them. I love plants and looking at them, but I don't think like I ever grasp them enough. Okay, so that's enough sort of detail for me with a black liner. And what I'm going to do next, I'm going to put some colors with the watercolors, and at the end we're going to put color pencils. So we're going to start with that fence. It's a little bit too jazzy for me, so we're going to add that on. And I'm leaving a little bit of kind of white here and there. Like I said, that liner is actually waterproof, so it's not going to cause us any problems. It's just when it touches that pencil, it might smudge a little bit and make it a little bit more grey, but again, it's not going to be a massive issue. And then we have different type of greens to play with. So that hydrangea has very blue leaves. That one's very warm. Let's start with that warm. So is that olive green? I think so. Yeah, olive green. And we can even add a little bit of kind of warm yellow hue deep. And I'm using here my lovely Schminke set. I think this is my favorite now. I can safely say that. It just has such a nice organic palette. I did add a few different colors to it. There is a kind of review and swatching of it in my channel, so take a look. Now this is very much yellow, lime yellow. And let's just make that white highlight. Okie dokie. And this is just a mixture of different leaves, and so with this foliage you can play with different temperature green. Now let's make kind of blue green, so emerald. I'm going to mix whatever I've got left of that little olive green just to give it harmony, so it's not completely from different planet. It's good to do that, to mix what you have already and just add on. Just adding a little bit of cerulean. I don't think it's blue enough, that green. Let's make more. Okay. You see, that's a different shade and brings it interest and just looks a bit different basically. This is another warm one here. Where else we can use that one? It doesn't even have to be really that. I can just pretend. And now we'll get back to our warm one, and let's just mix it up with something. Permanent green olive, and then olive green, two different olives. And that will be nice for those big leaves up here. It's layering, layering, layering if you want to create that depth. Now we're going to go deeper and darker. Okay, so I'm going to add maybe that halio turquoise, any sort of dark blue, indigo. And now we're going to add green, that permanent green, add it to that. And I think we really need our Payne's grey. There's no getting away from it. Just add to it that nice dark mix anywhere that is that darkness, and that will give a depth. Otherwise you just keep adding light stuff. It doesn't have any impact. So anything I can see severe dark things, I'm adding to, even like a wet on wet, that's fine. And you know, you can always define things with color pencils, so that's the good way to do it. And that hydrangea's got a bit of those dark areas as well. It's going to be so satisfying just popping those pinks in. I can't wait. But every stage has its nice moments. Let's just grab that kind of brownish color, just to add that to great. So that's looking better already. Now with the brickwork, we could play a little bit here. I'm going to gently erase a little bit of the brickwork so it's a bit more delicate. You can use that putty rubber if you want, or if you're too lazy to grab it, you can do what I did and just, you know, a little bit off. Okay, let's get a really small brush. This is just like a number 4. A red light, which is very bright orange. Now we need to break it down with something. So with a little bit of that green we had, I'm gonna add it on just to break it down. Otherwise it's gonna be very poppy, very strong. And that gives us very nice kind of organic brownish. Oh, I need to be super careful. You know what, I can actually tilt my canvas like that, just to make sure you can see it. Yeah, that's fine. And we can just fill it up like that. So I'm trying to be quick because I want to drop some things. And I'm not filling every single brick because we're going to make them different colors, slightly different. Ooh, keep it tidy. Okay, now we're going to grab that really lovely cadmium red light, which is more orange, and just mix it with that. You can make it more subtle, more kind of diluted if you like, or drop things in. But I thought I want to make it more pronounced. And again, you can go over with color pencils with that one. You can spend a long time doing that. I'm kind of always limiting myself not to go too long so it doesn't look very labored and tight. So you can set up rules for yourself. So I'm going to add a little bit of that green, pop it in here and there, maybe Perylene green. With lots of water. There we go. Just dirtying it up a little bit so it doesn't look too samey. Brilliant. So that's our little wall done to the side here. Now the same sort of mix, I'm going to highlight a little bit of that fence because that's very invisible at the moment. And I kind of like that effect drawn with that paint. So just making a little highlights here and there. I mean highlights, not highlights, but I mean it's like showing where those elements are. Adding a little bit of that green. Right, switching back to my bigger brush because we don't want to go tight. And what I'm doing here, I'm not sure if you can see my palette, it doesn't let that much. I'm just mixing different greens and make it overlap each other here. Okay, so that's very dark here still. We need to grab that Payne's grey again and a little bit of the Perylene green and make it a bit more darker there, because otherwise it looks, there's no depth, there's nothing there. And there was loads of depth on those plants, otherwise there's no point. And you can go over and over if you like. But that sounds enough. Let's just give a little bit of a layer of generic green here on the bottom, so it doesn't look kind of stark white. Even though those pages from this notebook, it's really nice and a little bit more yellow. Just adding an odd leaf a little lower. We forgot about our trees, so I need to put that in with a little bit of kind of brown, but not very strong saturation, something very subtle, because I can always make it more pronounced with my color pencils if I want to, and that's going to be white, so making that a little darker to that appear whiter. And I can still put like a gouache white over, no problem. Okay, that's starting to get some sort of shape, and I'm going to let that dry and draw with my color pencil a little bit more details. You know what, I wish there was like a mini tiny little hair dryer that I could use. Maybe cordless would be even better, because I was just sitting here and contemplating on my life rather than getting on with the painting. But sometimes you need a little break. So I have to dig out my pencils. Wow, there we go. I got huge wallets full of custom picked, hand-picked pencils from Faber Castel. And some of them are here, kind of the handiest ones. They are amazing. They work like butter. You have a massive amount to choose from. It's such a pleasure to use them. So I'm just going to choose a few of those kind of reds to do the bricks. Probably need something brown as well. Okay, browns are in there. That's fine. I'm just going to pop them on the side. The only thing is it's not extremely practical to have them kind of constantly picking them. So we have a lovely mark of watercolor on now, and what I'm doing now is doing a little bit more, what's the right word, just selecting, defining a little bit more of those spaces. And here is Neocolor 2, which I absolutely adore, and I know that's my final straw using a Neocolor 2 unless I dilute them with water, so I'm being really careful. These are like little stones, just creating a little texture there. I think I need another wash of that brown plank here because I kind of lost it. Okay, that might do. Just a little hint. What was I saying? So it's great when you have already put a layer of paint and just a little bit, you can tiny little kind of scratch over or make a nice defined lines. You know, it can be, it really depends on your style. I do like that sketchbook, messy style like that, so not very neat and realistic, more like expressionistic. Is that the right word? Is that even the word, or am I making things up? I'm not sure. I'm just going a little bit with my Neocolors as well. It's difficult to just explain everything, every single move I make, so I'm just going to get cracking and you guys see what's happening. So I'm either using my pencils or as Neocolors. Just looking at different shapes of those leaves. Yeah, I tend to kind of draw the same thing, and that when you look at leaves, they are such a different shapes, they're at a different angle. I think the good exercise would be just to screenshot this image, go into Procreate, lower opacity, and literally trace all those leaves, and letting my brain to understand that we do have a different shapes of leaves, and they, when they are in this composition, they will not be always at the same sort of shape of leaf. You know, they would be at the very much, sometimes looks just like a slither of from the angle when it's foreshortened. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do that exercise maybe tomorrow. Schedule that in my calendar. Yeah, I like that effect. That's actually cool. Now taking, oh, that's a pencil, not to mistake that, kind of brown here. Make these and I can always put a little stronger shadow here. It's fine. Some of it's not exactly dry yet, so it's really difficult to make that work. This is one of my favorite. It's actually Inktense, which is ink that you can dilute with water, and it's really nice and strong. So if I just highlight some of those darkest areas, I can then use the water and make it very intense. Inktense intense. See? That looks really well. Especially here, there's a lot of little areas very dark. Not much light happening here. I'm just observing and what's going on. I like that with the watercolor pencils, you can get such a beautiful precision, definition, and also kind of abstractive shapes, not always necessarily very realistic. I do like creating those pretend ones. A little bit of a yellow situation there. I think I'm going to use my Neocolor again. I need to be really careful because if I want to go again with the color pencil or a Neocolor, it doesn't take it that well. Well, that one did. But there are instances where it's not working so smoothly. Let's see if I have that intensive pink in here. Oh, I do. I have that fuchsia. So I'm going to use those two colors, guys, and make it on top very kind of reddish. I'm so happy I have that. These are my favorite crayons. I can't believe I'm saying that, crayons, because you associate that with toddlers, and I have to say I bought them because I saw other artists using them and I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. And I quite like the idea of this being buttery smooth. And I'm glad I did, because I fell in love with them. So just using water to mix it up. They're very versatile. You can use them like a watercolors, or very much like a crayon sort of feel. That's lovely. That different gradient. And let's use that purple as well, just to give it a shadowy, darker even at the bottom. So it'll look even more intensive. Oh, that's gorgeous. Now I'm using, let's use a little bit more of that dark. Just highlight, I keep saying highlight. What I mean is establish more of those leaves. And nice bright yellow, because there are a few lighter there, or maybe I'm just pretending. You can layer things. These got lots of little yellow bits. Looking for a nice strong green. Need to get my wallet out again. Okay, this one and this one. These two colours, and they all have lovely names as well. Leaf green and chrome oxidized green. When I was buying those pencils, I did actually spreadsheet and in Excel, because I bought few. I think I bought like a smaller set first of all that you can get, and then I thought, oh my goodness, I absolutely love them. They're very versatile as well, because you can smudge them as well. I'll show you in a second. And then obviously I had some, so I didn't want to double up, so I thought, oh, I need to like write it down what I already have so it doesn't double up. But you know what, it was one of the most relaxing things I've done. Just writing down all the names, all the numbers. I don't think I actually wrote the names, I just wrote by the number in Excel and just made sure I didn't double up. It was lovely. Oh my goodness, my other half was looking at me like, I can't believe you're doing that. You are nuts. I said, yeah, you will never understand. That's the thing. You can also work with something like markers here. I have this Pro marker from Winsor & Newton. It has two ends. And with that smaller end, you can just... Oh, let's use the bigger end actually. Because the bigger one that won't let you to concentrate too much on being too tight. Again, it will create more depth. Okay. I'm going back into my trunks with different color Neocolors. If you're interested in Neocolors and what colors I'm using, I have this standard set, little set that I first of all bought, and then I decided, because I didn't know, but you can actually buy your own chosen ones, very organic looking colors. And you can see on my channel there is a video where I actually tell you which ones I'm using. And I really like to throw that blue here and there. See if it works. Like a little kind of highlight. Just to break it down, because it could be very rigid with the colors. And it creates such an interest when you roll it in. Oh, that's my purple one. We can use that just for like a little lightest bits on those plants, little highlights. Finally, I can use that word in the right place. I absolutely love this Posca apricot. So cute, so pretty, that one. Just a little highlight here and there. That would work quite nice on the bricks. Just little speckles. So don't be afraid to create quite dark areas. I'm going to make it darker with my... Have we got that Neocolor dark? That's the darkest I have. I think I still need to work with those. Oh, look. I didn't realize I got that one. It might be a bit too bright and... Oh, I was going to say cheerful. I mean, like, there's such a good word in Polish for it. Pstrokaty, which means a bit like a parrot, like really, really bright. So I don't want it to be too out of place when you start using this out of nowhere, these colors. I'm going to soften it up a little bit. Okay, I wanted to make sure I can see that little trellis there in the background. So we'll use this really tiny end of Pro marker. This is actually the slate color. And it's really nice because it's not quite black, but it's dark enough to give you a bit of a definition. There we go. And I like making shadows with it as well. This is white of the my Neocolors. Unfortunately it broke, but you can still use it. It's just not as comfortable maybe when you have the whole big thing. Sometimes you can just peel it. It is actually designed to be peeled, and you can use that way around, which covers more area. So it can be, you know, it can be practical. Let's use that orangish yellow. What a name. Just to show that fence a little bit, and then a little bit in the wall, so it is all harmonious. I really want to highlight a little bit of a lighter area on that tree. This is my Posca white. We want that white highlight here on this little bowl. I didn't put the... Shall I put this one on? Yeah, let's do it. The decoration thing we had for ages. And it has a little highlight as well, so it makes it look glass-like. So when I put this white Posca pen, it does kind of melt a little bit with whatever is underneath. So don't be afraid to use it, and you might think, oh no, it's going to be very, very stark white. It's not actually. It will always melt a little bit with whatever's underneath. It's never going to be truly very, very white. You'll probably have to use something like gouache over and over, or acrylic, just to get it very white, if you want to do that. So with that blue, what I like to do is add in a little bit extra shadow there, a really dark one. Okay, so I think I'm happy with that. Obviously you can go over and over, but you don't want to overdo it as well. You could go forever and then just kind of break completely what you've done already. This is such a beautiful green. There's olive brown. It's gorgeous. Oh, I almost forgot. I got this super bright green. I got that especially to do those foliage bits. So it's nice to add a little punch here and there. I think probably not in this plant. No. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So there we are. That's the finished product. Again, that white we need to fix because it keeps disappearing. It's like a pink white now. I could get that gouache, just a pot of gouache, and pop it on, but it's just not happening today. Again, just a little bit that fence, which is Promarca Misty Rose. I might actually add that white because I need to do the pole here. Yes, let's do that. So it has kind of grey bit, which is that. And then it has a white bit. So what I'm talking about is this gouache paint, Talents designer gouache. And I like to use it for true white areas. Oh my gosh, it has kind of shrunk. It has shrunk, guys. it collapsed down. I don't know, maybe I haven't closed it down properly. Anyway, we'll try to use it now. I'm taking one of those squarish paints. I can add a teeny bit of water just to get it going. And see, it has such a nice coverage. Now we can make that little dot with the back of my pen, with my brush, for precision. There are a few white flowers there. Have we got anything else white? These little stones. Good, that looks fine. Oh, that's actually brown, this area. I didn't do that at all. See, I thought I was finished. It always is the case. I say, oh yeah, that's done, and I keep going for another half an hour. So it's like jinxing it. It's quite dark, that floor actually. But it's not super pronounced because we're keeping our focus on those plants and, you know, trees and things, so we're not that worried. Okay, I'm happy with that. So cute, so pretty, so pretty. And just a little bit darker grey at some areas. Okay, that looks like a pole now. It's not super defined. It's a bit tricky because it's not secured as notebook. That's good. That's fine. I feel like here is a little bit empty, so I'm just going to add a few more green drawings here. What have we got? Now it's little white and green bits. We could also add a different color, maybe that yellow. Okay, that looks a little bit more complete now. So I wasn't really listening what's in here. I kind of went my own way again. I think I need to make exercise when I actually trace some of them on the iPad and see what shapes are those plants.